My brother wants to take his 3-year-old son, my nephew, on a treasure hunt. He's got a treasure map, but he needs a treasure chest to find at the end. Let's build him one. We're starting by cutting some rough cedar to length on the miter saw. These are the boards that are going to make up the lid of our treasure chest. I've tilted my table saw blade to 20 degrees, and now I'm going to rip all of these to width. The reason we chose 20 degrees is because we have 9 pieces. 9 times 20 degrees equals 180 degrees. When joined together, these boards will form a perfect half circle, making the barrel top of our treasure chest. One thing we did, though, was the center board at the top, we ripped the bevel on both sides. This was done so that the last board would have a square edge where it meets the bottom. Junior Tinkerer, my other nephew, has joined me in the shop today to help me sand. I've laid out all of our boards outside facing up. I'm using a straight edge to make sure they're lined up, and then I'm using painter's tape to hold them together temporarily. Now I'll flip the whole thing over and add glue in between each board on our 20-degree bevels. Now I'll roll them together and temporarily hold them with some more tape, making sure that everything is perfectly flat along the bottom. For the ends of our lid, I've taken another block of cedar and I'm tracing the outline on it with a pencil. Now over at the bandsaw, we'll cut that outline out. And to attach it, we'll use some glue and a few brads. Then we'll do the same to the other end. For the bottom half of our treasure chest, we're also using the same cedar, cutting it to length over here, and now ripping it to width on the table saw. To join it together, we're just going to use glue and brads. And because a pirate wouldn't be caught dead using a dovetail jig, we're going to use simple butt joints on these. We've cut another piece for the bottom, and we're going to run a bead of glue around there, and then we're going to pound it in flush. Once it's there, we'll put some more brads in it. I decided the rough cedar was a little bit too rough, so I'm going to knock it down a little bit with my sander. Now it's time to install some hinges on the back. Also, we're installing a hasp on the front. I've chosen dark walnut as the stain on the treasure chest. To make the hardware look a little more aged, we're going to use a combination of these two colors. We'll first give everything a good coating of the metallic black stainless. Then we'll come back and spritz it with a little brown. While the hardware is drying, let's turn our attention to putting some leather straps on the chest. Here I've got an old leather belt of mine that I salvaged. I'm cutting it to length and then nailing the pieces on with upholstery nails. These upholstery nails, also known as furniture nails, are knurled and cool looking and make it look really old.
I'm about to blow your mind. 20 years ago, 17 years before my nephew was born, I got fat. I got fat for one reason, so I would wear a longer belt. I knew one day I would have to make a treasure chest for my nephew, who wasn't even thought about yet. 5 years ago, I walked into Walmart and I picked out the belt. I wore that belt for 4 long years until the patina and the wear was just right. I took that belt off a year ago and I put it in a drawer in the shop. My brother asked me the other day, "Will you build me a treasure chest for my son?" I said, "I've been planning on this for 20 years. That belt was the perfect length. Had I been 1 pound lighter, I couldn't have used it. Coincidence? You be the judge."
The last thing we're going to do is put some Rub and Buff on all of our hardware. Rub and Buff is a wax that contains pigments. You can usually get it at a craft store. It comes in several colors, but we're using antique gold here. To use Rub and Buff, you just rub it on and then buff it off with a clean cloth. I'm using it a little sparingly so that it gives it a mottled look.
Well, I think this thing turned out really nice, and I think my nephew's going to be thrilled when he finds it filled with treasure at the end of his treasure map. I really appreciate you watching. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and let me know what you thought. Also, if you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing by clicking on my logo here. It helped me out a whole lot. While you're at it, hit that notification bell and you'll get an email every time I upload a new video. Lastly, check out the videos below me. I think you're going to enjoy those too. Well, as always, thanks for watching.